Hey guys, in this week's video I'm going to show you how I went about making an electro house version of Cardi B's WAP. If you guys haven't heard my remix of this yet, there'll be a link directly below this video so you can go and have a listen to that and come back to this where I'm going to explain exactly how I made it. And I'm also going to give you some interesting concepts in this video that I think are going to completely change the way you go about making music, so I really hope this helps you out. Anyway, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Okay guys, so I'm going to jump in this project in a sec, but before I do I wanted to tell you a quick concept that I teach in my EDM coaching program, which is called beat hacking. Beat hacking essentially allows you to steal or borrow ideas from songs that you absolutely love and use them in your own production. And actually, in this track that I made, I quite heavily beat hacked another song, which is a perfect example to show you how I've taken ideas from a completely different song and used it to recreate a brand new song. And the great thing is, even though I've taken all these ideas from this other song that I love, even if I was to take this new song and play it to the two artists of the song that I kind of borrowed the ideas from, not even they would know that the ideas had been borrowed from their song. This is the thing, a lot of house tracks basically kind of share very, very similar characteristics. So this is why it's a really awesome thing for you guys to learn how to do. So let's just jump into the project here. Let me put my headphones on so I can hear what's going on. My drop, basically, let's start at the drop because that's where I always start when I'm making a track. My drop sounds a little bit like this.
Yeah, you fucking with some wet ass pussy.
Okay, cool. So it's a really, really simple bass line basically. It's a kick drum, a clap, and a bass line. I can show you. It's literally one kick drum up here that sounds like this. There's a clap that sounds like this. And one bass line that sounds like this. And nothing else going on. Now this is the song that I was actually kind of beat hacking. It's a Dioro song and a Danny Avila song called Keep It Going. Now if you listen to their drop, you'll notice a very similar thing. It's a kick drum, a clap, and a bass line. Their sounds a bit like this.
Keep it going, yeah. Yeah.
So I knew when I was making my track that I wanted to kind of model a lot of the ideas that they use in this track, so I did the exact same thing. Now, as for my actual bass line, I just came up with the idea by kind of singing it. I knew it wanted to go down, 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 down. So I got the track. What I always do is I find out what the key of the track is. I draw in all the notes of that key, just you can see, just off the side here. So I draw them all in here. And then when I've drawn them all in, I budge them to the left. And then I fold the track away. So now I know when I'm drawing in any of my notes, I'm not going to hit a note that's out of key. Every single note I hit is going to be in key. It's a really awesome tip for you guys. So I started drawing in these notes. Now the only thing of real interest for you here is these notes glide from one to the next. So if you can see, there's a note that runs here and a note directly below it. It's because if I go ahead and play two notes, you'll notice that it causes the pitch to glide up and down. Like that. So if you can hear now, if I play this note, you'll notice it sounds like it's gliding down. And then this one here, listen to it, kind of sounds like it's gliding up because one note plays and then straight away another note plays. See how it kind of goes wham, 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 wham. It adds loads of like, it's really interesting to add these kind of glides. Another thing you can also do is if you click this button down here in Ableton and go to MIDI and then go to pitch bend, you can also add additional bends in. So as you can see here, if I stretch this out, you'll see I've kind of drawn these bends in as well to help really add to this gliding effect. So that's how I went about raking the bass line. And then once I had this kind of drop, it was just a case of I knew that the first four bars was going to be exactly what I just explained. Kick drum, clap, and a bass line. And then I listened to this other song that I was kind of modeling, and I noticed after the first four bars of the drop, in came this kind of hi-hat shuffle. Have a listen. So I was like, awesome, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So on my drop, in come these hi-hats after the first four bars. See how powerful that is? And like I said, it is kind of stealing, but it's not stealing, it's just taking ideas from other people's tracks. So I built up the drop that way. The other thing I noticed on their track as well is at this point here they had some kind of like siren sounds. Have a listen right now. The whip. So when on my track as well, I came up here and added this section that sounded a little bit like this. Okay, so you can see how powerful this whole thing is. Now, as for the actual kind of build-up for my track, I just took this same melody, so it's the same melody that's playing here that sounds like this, and I played it in a completely different sound that sounds like this. It's the same melody, but all I've done is I've just taken away all those gliding notes. I've also got a filter on it, so it actually sounds like this. And this is the main song I took it from. So you can see it's the exact same melody, except I've got a filter on it, and that filter over time is kind of increasing and increasing from the beginning of the song right up to the drop. And then right on the build-up, it just repeats loads and loads. Like that. So I knew I had the basis of that part of the song there, where I just taken the melody from the drop and used it in the kind of build-up. And then again, it was loads more beat hacking going on. So I came down to the beginning of this track here, and I noticed that they had a siren going on and a sub sound going on. So if you listen, you'll hear the siren.
Blowing, looks like the smoke I'm blowing.
It's like a
Blowing, looks like the smoke I'm blowing. I keep the party going, keep it going, yeah, hold up.
They've got that kind of bass sound in the background as well, and then they've obviously got that lyric. And I thought, well, this lends itself perfectly to the track, because I can have this Frank Ski sound going along.
There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores
Then I bring in my siren, which is up here.
in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
And my bass line. So there's just a big heavy sub bass that sounds like this. There's a siren that sounds like this. And I've just added those kind of classic shakers, because it makes this kind of tension in the song when shakers come in, like something's coming. Like that. Put it all together.
Whores in this house. There's some 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 whores.
Then the kick comes in. Again, if you go and listen to the track that I'm kind of replicating down here, you'll hear the kick comes in at the exact same point. This is the reference track.
Get going, yeah. Hold up. I get the liquor flowing. Just like the
And if you go and listen to my track as well.
in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
And exactly the same point when their kind of snares come in here.
Yeah.
So at this exact point here, their snares come in.
Going, keep it going, yeah.
And if you listen to my track, you'll notice it's the exact same point my snares come in as well. Then as for the build of the track, it's really simple. Lots of repetition and risers going on. So there's a snare roll, there's risers, and there's a repetition in the vocals as well.
Whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
All I've done on this clip is I've just repeated the word whores, so it just goes whores, whores, whores. Have a listen. I just repeated that audio clip over and over, and then at the end I sped it up. And to make it sound like it's rising, all you do is, again, if you go into the clip here and just go to clip, select clip there, and then transpose, you can just have it kind of pitching up over time. So it pitches up and up and up. The reason why I actually had to start this at a lower pitch is because this track here was actually at a lower pitch as well. So this is pitched down by 5 semitones. So when I went to actually pitch bend this up, I had to make sure it was down by 4 or 5 semitones before I started to pitch up. And it creates that kind of effect. So that was that going on. I also had the snare roll at the top, which sounded a bit like this. And then I had loads of different risers, all doing something slightly different. So I just unsolo it all. You'll see there's this sound here. There's this sound here. There's this sound here. And this sound here. which probably didn't need them all, but I just found that they all kind of together created this very hypey noise. And again, if you have that mixed with the snare roll at the top here, and then I had this melody, which I've already said is kind of repeating here, and you put it all together, you get a riser that sounds a bit like this, or a build that sounds like this.
Yeah, you fucking with some wet ass pussy.
So, this is the other interesting thing for you. Out of the Cardi B track, there was actually only one bit of a cappella I actually took. So if I come up here, this is the a cappella of the Cardi B track, and I only took this one line.
Yeah, you fucking with some wet ass pussy.
Then as for the actual sample of them saying there's some whores in this house, I got it from the original track that she got it from as well, which is a Frank Ski song that sounds a bit like this.
Whores in this house, there's some whores in this house.
I took the sample from there instead of from her song. And what I did is, if I just go to the beginning of my track, I just took this sound here and I pitched it down 5 semitones.
There's some whores in this house, there's some whores in this house.
If you ever do this, I always find the best setting is complex.
There's some whores.
And the same thing with her vocals as well. I pitched that down 7 semitones as well, so it sounds like this.
Yeah, you fucking with some. Yeah, you fucking with some.
And then really it's a very simple arrangement. In fact, there's one other bit of her vocal that I use, which is this bit here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I just found added a bit of character to the song when I felt like the song had been the same for too long and I wanted to add a new element.
There's some whores in this house, there's some whores in this house, there's some whores in this house, there's some...
And I think actually there was one other song I took from her song, which was her making this whoop noise. It sounds like this. Now, originally it sounded like this, but I pitched it up 3 semitones, and I used it as a kind of whoop noise in the middle of the drop. So you'll hear, after the shakers have come in the drop, after that, this whoop noise comes in. Have a listen. It just adds a bit of hype. And again, I got the idea because if you listen to my reference track, you'll hear they've got a whoop on the offbeats as well. So, there you go. Hopefully what you're beginning to see from this song is basically an accumulation of me taking ideas I like from another song and using it to create my own track, which is a really, really awesome thing. Because like I said, if you took my track now and played it to Dioro and Danny Vela, they wouldn't turn around and say, hey, you've just stolen our track. Because it's completely different. It sounds like a completely different track. It just so happens that all these additional elements that they use, I've decided to use in my song as well. So look, that's basically it. Once you've got the initial first half of the track, the second half of the track is often very similar. I think I changed up the drop very, very slightly in the second half. So instead of it sounding like this, let me go along, instead of it sounding like this, it sounds like this in the second drop. Which again was just me playing around with the notes. So if I go back here, so I've just added a couple of extra little tiny notes, so it kind of gives it this kind of sound. Have a listen. So really basic stuff going on here, really nothing hugely interesting, but the main concept that I really want you guys to get is whenever you are making a track, always have a reference track. Because if you've got a reference track, and by the way, I didn't just have one, I had 3 reference tracks down here. The tracks that I wanted my song to sound like. And the best thing of this is when you're going ahead and making your track, every time you're slightly confused or you don't really quite know how much the levels need to be, like how loud does your clap have to be, you just go and listen to your reference track and listen to how loud their clap is and replicate it. And if you feel like your bass isn't loud enough, you can go and steal how loud their bass is. And you basically, the entire way through the process, what I find works and what I try and teach to my students is to just constantly be referencing other tracks. Because if you go ahead and you try and make a track completely from scratch without listening to another track, you are doomed to feel disappointed when you put it on next to another track. You're going to feel like, why doesn't my track sound like these other professional tracks that I like? However, if you have them in your track while you're making your track, your other reference tracks, and you're constantly listening to them and comparing them to the track that you're making, by the time you finish it and you export it, it's going to sound exactly like the tracks you're referencing. So this is something I really want you guys to kind of get a grasp of here. I call it beat hacking. It's simply a case of finding out what your favorite artists are doing in their track and replicating it. In fact, there's one last thing which I wanted to show you, which I thought was quite cool. So in the second half of this track here, you'll notice there's some claps that come in.
Hold up, I get the liquor flowing, just like the smoke I'm blowing. I keep the party going, keep it going, yeah. Hold up.
And what you'll notice, it comes in with one clap going clap, clap, clap. And then another clap kind of comes in out of nowhere going clap, 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 clap. Have another quick listen.
Blowing, just like the smoke I'm blowing. I keep the party going, keep it going, yeah. Hold up, I get the liquor.
See how they did that? So I replicated this idea as well. So if I come right to the top, you'll notice I've got some claps up here. Where are they? Here they are. And what I've got is just one clap playing by itself, and then another clap that comes in, but it comes in quietly and gets louder, so it creates the exact same effect. Exactly like my reference track.
Hoes in this house, there's some 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 hoes in this house.
And that's pretty much it. So there you go, guys. That's exactly how I made the track. It's really basic. It's really simple, really, when you get your head around it. There's a couple of other additional things in there, like some white noise and stuff. But that is the basics of the track. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you learned something and you've learned those concepts of beat hacking. Now, if you would love to get to know this principle more and you'd like me to actually personally coach you through making your next couple of tracks, or if you're at the beginning of your journey and you feel like this stuff that I'm talking about seems so far away and you'd love to be able to learn this stuff quickly, I do have training at EDM Coaching. So if you click the link directly below this, you can check out the free training, and if you're really interested, you can check my EDM Coaching Academy by going to edmcoaching.com, sign up, and you can have me personally coach you and teach you how to do all of this stuff to get your track sounding ridiculously professional. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in next week's video. Ciao for now.